Hello, my dear children. How are you all? Hope everyone is fine. Today, as I record the video, past 1 week, we all have been hearing about the rising COVID-19 cases. And the best way to save ourselves is to stay indoors in our house, which is the safest place for us. Follow the 3 rules: washing your hands with soap and water regularly, wearing a mask in public places, and social distancing. I know that you have taken this method of teaching very, very well, very positively. Keep up the spirit. We will be following this method, and in between, we will be taking live classes where you can uh, clarify your doubts. Whichever topic you have found difficult, we can take it up again in details and keep reading the lesson, see the videos again and again. This will definitely help you in better understanding. So we have started with metallurgy, and we have studied the reactions of metals with water, oxygen, other acids, etc. And today also we are going to study about a few reactions of metals with some other substances. We have even seen what is aqua regia, and that is hydrochloric acid and nitric acid in the ratio of 3:1, and it is a highly corrosive and fuming liquid. Corrosive, that is that which can cause a lot of damage, inflammation, highly reactive, we can say. And we know that both these acids are highly concentrated acids. So they are used to dissolve gold and platinum. So this is what we have done till now. And now we are going to take up the next topic. And here we are going to study about the reaction of metals with other metal salts. So the metal salts that we are going to discuss here, or the reaction that is going to take place of metals with other metal salts, is of copper sulfate and ferrous sulfate. So let us get started. Here we have a experimental arrangement which I have taken from your textbook, that is reaction of metal with solution of salts of other metals. So here we have a arrangement where we have taken 2 test tubes. They are covered with corks, and there is a thread that has been suspended in both of them. And in this test tube, we can see an iron nail that has been suspended from the thread. Whereas here we have a copper wire which has been suspended. In this test tube, we have copper sulfate solution, whereas here we have ferrous sulfate solution. Copper sulfate is called as blue vitriol and ferrous sulfate called as green vitriol. So what do you have to observe and what are you supposed to do here? So here the procedure has been given. Take a clean copper wire and a clean iron nail. Dip the copper wire in ferrous sulfate solution and iron nail in copper sulfate solution. So here we have taken iron nail in copper sulfate solution and copper wire in ferrous sulfate solution. Keep on observing continually at a fixed interval of time. So you have to see what changes are taking place in both the test tubes. In which test tube a reaction has taken place. So you have to see where a reaction has occurred. How can you recognize that a reaction has taken place? What is the evidence? What can you see? What changes are you observing that have taken place? And last is, what is the type of the reaction? So if we look into the first test tube, we have iron nail and copper sulfate solution. We have studied that iron, being more reactive, will displace copper from the copper sulfate solution, and it will result in the formation of FeSO4, or ferrous sulfate is constantly going to be formed here, and copper is going to get displaced. This displaced copper can be seen on the iron nail. So copper coating formed on iron nail is observed. So this is our observation, that is gradually the color of copper sulfate goes on fading because now there is less copper sulfate and more ferrous sulfate constantly being formed because copper is getting displaced, and this displaced copper is found to be deposited upon the iron nail. So this is what we find in the first test tube. Here the equation has also been written. Copper sulfate plus iron gives ferrous sulfate plus copper, which is displaced. We have, this is metal A. Metal A over here is iron, and salt solution of metal B, that is copper sulfate. This is salt solution of metal B, and this gives rise to salt solution of metal A. So FeSO4 is nothing but the salt solution of metal A and metal B. Metal B is copper. So this is what is the equation that we get. And how do you recognize? I have already told you that the deposition of copper on the iron nail is going to take place, and in which test tube reaction has taken place. So we find a reaction taking place only in the first test tube. Now what is going to happen over here? Do we find any change taking place here? Obviously not, because here we have taken ferrous sulfate solution, but a copper wire is dipped here. Now copper being less reactive cannot displace iron from iron sulfate. Since it cannot displace iron from iron sulfate, there will be no reaction over here. There will be no noticeable change or no chemical reaction that will take place in this test tube. So this is what type of reaction? By this time you must be knowing about it. That is, it is a displacement reaction. So here in this reaction of metals with other metal salts, we find that a metal of higher reactivity displaces another metal of lower reactivity from its salt solution. So I hope you have got this reaction, and let's now study the next one. Coming to the next reaction of metals. The next reaction of metals is with non-metals. Let us have a little recapitulation of what we have studied regarding metals and non-metals in periodic classification of elements and chemical reactions and equations. Now, in periodic classification, we studied that metals are electropositive because they have tendency of donating electrons, as they have 1, 2 or 3 electrons. And non-metals are electronegative because they have a tendency of accepting electrons, and that they have 5, 6 or 7 electrons in their valence shell. In chemical reactions and equations lesson, we have studied that oxidation is loss of electrons and reduction is gain of electrons. So if we relate this to what the metals have as their tendency, the two things if we relate, in that case metals are going oxidation, metals are undergoing oxidation because they are losing electrons, and non-metals are undergoing reduction because they are gaining electrons. So I hope you have been able to establish this relationship. Now the case is that why do metals lose electrons or non-metals gain electrons? We know that all inert gases or the noble gases of the group number 18 never enter into any chemical reaction. And that is because of their octet state or the state of stability that they have. So metals lose electrons or non-metals gain electrons in order to achieve the electronic configuration to the nearest inert gas and become stable. So this is what makes metals and non-metals react with one another. One element loses electron, the other gains it, and they form a bond between them, and that results in the formation of a new compound. So here we are going to study a couple of reactions between metals and non-metals. The first example is that of sodium chloride formation. Sodium reacts with chlorine and it gives rise to sodium chloride. Now this compound is called as an ionic compound. Ionic compounds are always formed between metals and non-metals, and they are formed due to loss and gain of electrons, or we can say transfer of electrons. Loss and gain, so metals lose and non-metals gain electrons, and transfer of electrons, that is from metals to non-metals. So ionic compounds are formed between metals and non-metals due to transfer of electrons or due to loss and gain of electrons. And this type of bond is very strong. There is a bond which is created now between the two elements here, sodium and chlorine, and that bond is ionic bond, and it is a very strong bond because it is created due to oppositely charged ions. Here sodium is losing electrons, so it develops 1 unit positive charge, and chlorine gains 1 electron, and so it develops 1 unit negative charge. So oppositely charged, and hence the force of attraction between them is very strong. So the ionic bond is a very strong bond. So this is how the reaction between metal and non-metal takes place. And here similarly magnesium and potassium form the ionic compounds MgCl2 and KCl respectively. So here I have written down the equations for you. Potassium reacts with chlorine to give you potassium chloride, and magnesium reacts with chlorine to form magnesium chloride. So potassium has again 1 electron in the valence shell, just as sodium. They all belong to group 1, and it is taken up by chlorine and it forms KCl. So it's a bond between metal and non-metal. Similarly, magnesium has got valency 2. It belongs to group 2. So it loses its 2 electrons, and they are gained by chlorine, and it results in the formation of magnesium chloride. 2 electrons of magnesium go to 1 chlorine atom each, and so it results in the formation of magnesium chloride molecule. So that is all about the reaction between metals and non-metals. So in doing so, metals, when they donate electron, they achieve the electronic configuration to the nearest inert gas. Similarly, by gaining electron, the non-metal also acquires the electronic configuration of the nearest inert gas, and so in this way both become stable, and they result in the formation of a new compound. So that is all about the type of reaction between metals and non-metals. Let's go on to the next one.